Good morning, everybody. It's Lynn, the Leather Bag Lady. How are you doing today? It is back at home time now, and this darn thing is timing me again. I haven't had that in a long time, so I don't know what's going on. Anyway, so welcome back to the shed. We are back from Nova Scotia. If you were able to catch my videos last week, you will see that I was on Cape Breton Island in New Waterford. Unfortunately, my husband Pius's aunt died, Aunt Marie, and we decided to, well, it wasn't even a decision. Pius was going regardless. I didn't think I was going to get to go, but I did, and it was a very bittersweet not even a vacation, but a trip. But we'll talk about that after today's bag. So, today's bag is a bag I've had for quite a while, and I wasn't listing it. I was actually going to take it to Art Crawl. So if you follow me regularly, you will know that every summer, from kind of April, May, if the weather cooperates, to September, October, again, if the weather cooperates, in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, we have, it's a kind of grassroots art crawl event. And I take a lot of my vintage bags there. Now, what I will take there are bags that are cumbersome to ship, maybe are a little too big to ship. And this bag was kind of in that category, but I'm not really all that pumped about Art Crawl anymore. And we'll talk about that as well after I show you this beautiful camera style bag. So I've listed this as a 70s bag, could be 60s, but I think it's more 70s. It's black leather with a tan accent, and then you've got this cool little section of multicolors. Kind of reminds me of Aldo, but this predates Aldo. Now, the reason this wasn't being listed is because of the girth of this base, this gusset. This is going to be probably, because it doesn't squish down, it's probably going to be a little expensive to ship. But you know what? I actually had a bunch of Juicy Couture wallets that I was going to list, and I left them at the trailer. So I was kind of struggling a little bit, and I saw this guy, and I thought, you know what? I have not done April's Art Crawl. I didn't do May's Art Crawl. We were just so busy. And again, we'll talk about that after. So this little guy has a slip pocket. There is a little bit of color loss here, just a tiny little bit. Has another slip pocket. Now there is a little bit of snagging in the leather. Like you barely can see it, but you know me, I like to tell you everything and anything that's wrong. A little bit of a, yeah, what they've done is they haven't used glazing on this bag. What they've done is they've it's kind of like a paint, and then they burnish it. So this is just where some of that black has crept up onto this little leather trim piece. There is some separating of the leather and the two pieces of leather here, but nothing, everything is secure, it's solid. I will clean that up a little bit for you. And by that, I just mean I will get rid of the threads, and I will put a little bit more color on there for you. There really isn't enough space for me to re-glue it, but it is not loose like it's not affecting the connectability of the strap at all. And then there's more of this edge paint, not that god-awful plastic garbage. So there is... This is where it was when I got it. I always put it at the longest thingamajigger. Oh, I didn't put the sizes on the listing. I'll have to do that. What is the strap drop? So this is how I measure the strap drop. I just take the apex and I go down. So it's 23 inch. So it's a good size. And let's just measure it while we're here. So corner to corner, it is 9 inches. top to bottom, it is 5.5. It's got 2 compartments, 2 zippered compartments. Nothing, oh, there is a zipper compartment here. But it's that, the structured bag is really out right now. Like it's out and about. Everybody's very interested in these structured, excuse me, in these structured bags. Not my cup of tea at all, I am going to admit. I do really like this one though. I'm a sucker for the black and tan combination. And then just this little colored bit. Like it's very, very vintage. It's very 70s. It just screams. Yeah, so it's a little higher sitting on me because I got all this to deal with, as you know. But, oh, I got a tickle in my throat. But it's really cute. And I really like it. And as I said, I had every intention of taking it to Art Crawl. So Art Crawl, as I said, is a kind of artist-driven exhibition, if you like, every second Friday of the month. I do believe it goes on all year. There's a lot of galleries, a lot of vintage stores, consignment stores, that kind of thing, and they will stay open late on that Friday. In the warmer weather, artisans, different vendors are encouraged to come and set up on the street and sell their wares, which is what I do. Now, my bags are a little bit controversial because there are many that don't think they are art. I can understand why they would say that. Where my art comes in is the picking of the bags and the refurbishing of the bags and the historical research on the bags. To me, that is my expression of art. All these vintage bags, in my opinion, are so well made. They are little pieces of sculpture in and of themselves. Like, I really do believe that. And if I can find a maker, there is no maker in this bag, I will research it. I will, tell my customer about the bag. And then the refurbishing process. If you've been following me for a while, you know that I don't stitch bags or put new zippers or straps or anything like that. Mind you, I am doing the strap thing, as you know. Not quite there yet, but got a lot going on right now. Nothing I can share at the minute, but hopefully soon. Mosquito bite. Oh, they just love me and I do not love them. I've got a little bit of a mild allergy. So anyway, so last year, the city of Hamilton, nobody really runs this. It's all kind of, I've been doing it for probably 9 years now. This may be my 10th year. And you just go, put your table up, set your stuff, and the city turns a blind eye to all the bylaws that will not allow people to sell, like street vendors or whatever. They decided last year to try closing down the actual street. I understand why they did that, because I think there's a lot of accidents waiting to happen, because this event has gotten so huge. There are people coming from Toronto. There's people coming from far and wide to participate in this event. And it is no longer kind of a local event. So with that said, there are hundreds of vendors. There is not enough sidewalk space for hundreds of vendors. So by closing down the street, it's giving the vendors an opportunity to not only set up on the sidewalk, but to set up on the edge of the road. Have to keep the middle of the road open, obviously, for emergency service vehicles, whatever. But what it's done is it has forced the foot traffic into the middle of the road. And unfortunately, they are no longer walking by and something is catching their eye. Last year was the worst year I had financially at this event. It's a long day. I get there at 9 in the morning and I'm leaving usually between 10 and 11 o'clock at night. And there's no washrooms. There's you're there by yourself for the most part. Usually you meet neighbors and we watch each other's tables while we go and get a coffee or go to the washroom or whatever. So it's a very, very big commitment for the day. It's expensive to park for the day. And I don't know, I just didn't feel that many hours was being compensated for in terms of what I made at the end of the day. So I'm really on the fence whether I want to do it. I did speak to a couple of my friends who do it regularly like me, and some said it was not great and others said they did very well. So but my bags are very, as I said, controversial. There are people who really, really don't like to see the, vintage clothing vendors, the bag vendors. There's a Facebook page that is Hamilton Art Crawl. If you're curious about it, go on Facebook and check it out. But there are many, many, many threads where people are complaining about the space vendors like me take up, because we are not the true essence of what Art Crawl was in the beginning. I mean, there's vendors selling, electronics that they got. I don't know wherever you are, if this kind of bin thing. I know in the US, the bins are, is it Goodwill bins, Salvation Army bin? I think it's the Goodwill bins where you're getting used goods by the pound. We have one location like that here in Ontario that I know of. So that's not what I'm talking about. We've had this new insurgence of like Walmart pallets, Amazon return pallets, and people are buying these pallets and they put them all in bins. And if you go the first day, anything that's in the bins is $20, and then the next day it's 15, 10, 5, 2, 1, and then they get their new stock. So it's all, phone cases and stuff like that, and jewelry made in China, and I guess nobody wants to see that. Sunglasses, that kind of thing. A lot of my bags are made in China. This little guy that I showed you today is made in China. Where do you draw the line? And I do understand what they're saying, but I've spent a lot of years at this event, and I have loyal customers. They love to hear the history on the bags, and I sell my vintage belts. I sell my wallets. So I don't know. I'm kind of getting to the point where I'm not sure I want to do it anymore. So we'll see. And that, again, long story as to why that bag has been on my shelf for probably a couple of years. And I just didn't think it would be worth shipping because of the base and how I like to try and make my bags as small as possible when I ship them. And what I'll do is fold them over and just kind of vacuum seal them a little bit. That one I wouldn't do that too, because I'd be too scared that it would compromise the leather, like the piping on the edging and stuff. So we shall see. But there's lots of things changing, and like as I said, we've got some stuff going on. Not quite ready to share it yet, but nothing crazy. Pius and I are fine, and there's nothing going on there, but we are making some changes, and it will impact the bags for a little while, I do think, but we're not quite there yet, so we'll see what that's all about. So we drove to Nova Scotia. We left last Sunday morning, and it's a 22-hour drive. The first day we did 9-10 hours. The second day we did 12 hours, and then coming back we did the reverse. We did 9-10 hours back, and then a long day on Sunday. Pius is exhausted. He did all of the driving with the exception of 1 hour where he just was really tired, and I gave him a break. The weather was fantastic. We've been to the East Coast 3 times now since Pius and I met. What's today's date? We are coming up for our 2nd year anniversary of meeting, And next month will be our 1 year anniversary of being married. So it's all, we've been talking about that, how we just go, 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 go. There's always a bunch of stuff going on. It's making my routines really difficult. And I'm kind of trying to understand how I can combat that, because I've gained some weight back again. Cooking when you're on the road, like, we just never know what we're going to be doing, because we just want to go here, sure. Want to go here, sure. And and we need to take a little bit better care of our finances. So all these impromptu trips, it's a lot of gas, it's a lot of eating out and all that kind of thing. So I think we need to kind of a little bit. But we saw nothing. We saw a couple of deer on the way there. On the way back, we saw a black bear on the side of the road. We saw 2 moose. I've been looking for 2 years for moose. Now, I saw one way, way, way off in the distance that was not a mature animal. It was maybe a year or whatnot. And then we saw a little guy, and he still had his baby fluff on him. He had gotten on the wrong side of the fence. Now, along the highway, this was in northern Quebec, they are doing an insane amount of construction on the roads, and they are encroaching on the territory of these wildlife. I mean, there's an industrial park going in up there. Like, this is northern Quebec, like, just crazy pants. And this little guy had somehow gotten on the wrong side of the fence. So they fence a lot of the highway just to deter the wildlife from coming too close to the road. And every now and again, there'll be Pius called it a slip. So it's like a gate that has this kind of, so from the outside, you could push it and it opens, but from the inside, it's spiked. So it deters the animals from pushing against it. So I've chosen to believe that this little guy made it back to his mama, because I'm sure mama was not far, because Pius said he was tall. He wasn't. He was a little wee guy, and it was sad. I was kind of, And then what else did we see? A lot more deer, but the moose was the big thing for me. Last year, the first time we went, we flew into Halifax, and then we drove from Halifax to Cape Breton Island, where Pius is from. Last June and this time we drove the whole way, which I think we would do anyway. We love being in the truck together. We do. We have our tunes playing. I had packed food because I had Mother's Day all planned. My family were coming to the trailer. I was making burgers. We had all salads, all that kind of stuff. And then Pius got the call on Saturday afternoon that his aunt had passed away. We knew she was palliative, and she lasted 2 weeks. This little lady, I am telling you, she was 4'0". She had 2 husbands who had passed away. I think 3 kids she had lost, and she beat cancer twice. Like, this little lady was just a firecracker. We stayed with her the first time we went to Nova Scotia. And she just was so gracious and really, embraced me, because, nobody knew who I was. So we went to the funeral, and it was a very traditional service, certainly not something that I would care for, lots of priest readings and all this kind of stuff. No, I want to party, and I don't want to be put in the ground. The casket was absolutely gorgeous, but I can't get the thought out, and I've never been to an open casket funeral. I've been to a lot of celebrations of life, but I walked in the room and I saw the casket and the thing was open. I was like, oh God. But I went up and it looked like her. She looked, but now I've got this vision of her in the casket in the ground. And I don't know. I can't seem to shake it. We went to the gravesite of Pius's mom and dad. Pius lost his dad in 1975, a lot of years ago. And his mom in 2008, I do believe. Where they are buried is on the side of a cliff or on a cliff edge to the Atlantic Ocean, and it is just the most gorgeous view. The weather, as I said, was beautiful. It was fog one day. The temperatures were perfect. We have come back to Ontario, and yesterday it was 32 degrees. I am not able to deal with this heat, especially with these hot flashes. I had the air conditioning on in the little shed here, which it gets so cold. It's like an ice box. Thank goodness. But I turned it off because it would have been too loud to do the video with you today. So yeah, lots of things happened in the last week. Some good, some not so good. We got to see our friends, Blair and Karen Bailey. They hosted us in, I need a Kleenex, in their home. They are just the best people ever. And we got to chat to our Dominican friends yesterday. Hi, Scotty. Hi, Joe. They were going off to their cabin. They live in Wawa, Ontario, which is apparently an absolutely beautiful, beautiful place. So we'd like to go and visit there one day, but that's a 10-hour trip. So not something we can do quickly, that's for sure. So just, yeah, lots of crazy stuff. Downloading. I ran out of data. I did not ask Karen for her Wi-Fi. I don't know why I did that, but I mean, between Pius and I, we have like 70 gigs of data. So I thought, oh, who cares? But for some reason, mine is limited. So I ran out of data, which is why if you follow the Shop at the Shed project, this last video on Friday was all messed up. It started to download and it only got halfway through and then it didn't finish. And oh my goodness me, it was a bit of a shit show. But I wanted to do it from there, and I did do it from there. If you saw last Wednesday's video, you saw Logan, Karen and Blair's grandson helped me with my Shop at the Shed. It was really cute. He was very good. A little distracted, but anyway, it was wonderful. But like I said, we're back home now, back to reality. Got the laundry going. I'm doing my video. Pius is back at work, complaining all the way. The driving here is just nuts. We knew as we were approaching even Montreal, Quebec, and then coming into Ontario, the driving here is dangerous. It really is. The speed and the lack of respect for the rules of the road is just insane. And I mean, as you know, if you follow me, Pius is a truck driver and he's just not happy to be back dealing with all that nonsense. I can tell you that for sure. But anyway, everybody, that is it. I don't think there was anything else. There's probably tons more I wanted to tell you, but my brain's going, which it does on a regular basis. Poor Pius. He says to me, he goes, put a pin in it, because I'll stare off into space again, which is why I sit on my chair on the deck here and my head just spins. But it is so hot on my deck now. Usually we've just had a long weekend, May 24th weekend. And I think for the last 3-4 years, the weather has been rainy, cold. Well, this weekend it was not. The trailer park was heaving. There was so many people there. We are staying at the trailer actually because it has air. And my house does not, but I do put window units in and it's fine. But I just can't be bothered doing that right now. So Pius said, even despite having, a 45-50 minute drive into work every day from the trailer, he's like, let's just stay at the trailer this week. It's just going to be too hot. It's going to be 32 again today. I ain't got time for that. I'm too busy. The sweat, it's just disgusting. Everything is soaked. The only good thing about this time of year is my bra straps don't fall off, because I have no shoulders. So when my skin is a little bit sticky, my bra straps stay up. Go figure. So on that note, I will say goodbye to you all. Have a great rest of the day. And hopefully I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye, everybody. Oh, no, Shop at the Shed tomorrow. Oh, I'm going to do my best to get it done in a timely fashion, but I will be at the trailer. So I'm going to try and start the upload process like a couple of hours earlier. So anyway, take care, everybody. Bye.